This video is on perfect strike training. Last one was on perfect grappling. Once again, it's going through the 5 elements of learning. First thing when it comes to grappling or striking, you start off with your stances. There are many different stances between a Philly shell, Tyson, standard, and a V-lock or a V-guard. There are many different fighting stances that you can choose from. Knowing what stance for the style that you want to perfect is important, because you also need to know what techniques they're doing and why they flow well with those styles. An example would be catch wrestling for grappling. You use 4 of them here because the overall purpose of catch wrestling was to reach out and grab somebody. Back where I left off, catch wrestling you need 4 because they want to catch the person to go for the technique, while Aikido is mostly upright, hands down, because they don't want to be caught. So from here they mostly focus on the grappling part. Where in boxing they keep their hands up because the goal is to strike the person, dodge, strike, block, hit, strike. But when it comes to a lot of old school martial artists, they learn to keep the hands up in front, hands up don't shoot stance, open bear stance, whatever you want to call it, or to make it look as inconspicuous that they're doing a stance at all, if at all possible. Next one would be, I know I got them out of order, it's going to be positioning. This goes back into the stance thing. Take karate. Karate, with whatever stances they have, when they hit, they want to sink their entire weight into the person. Now, their body has to be aligned the proper way, from the tip of their toes all the way up to their point of impact for the punch to have any power. Same thing when it comes to a lot of boxing techniques. Your lead foot that you're stepping with, toes are pointed that way before you throw your hook, so that your punch has more power to it. 8 movements refers to the 8 ways that the body can move. If you're throwing with power and weight, you should be able to throw your body weight into it, and there's only 8 ways you can do that. Either by dropping your entire weight, rising your entire weight. This is my legs doing it, not my spine or back. If I do my spine, it's just my upper body that's dropping weight. Or if I do my hips, my entire body weight's being dropped into the target. Same thing with shift, throwing, which is basically just jumping through the air, rotating, circling, which is moving in a circle, like drunken boxing or capoeira even. Next one is whip, where the body just whips into it. Vibrate, where the body just basically everything moves just a little bit at a time. And yeah, those are the 8 body movements. Shift, drop. Yep, that's all 8. The next one is the 9 direction. A punch can only come in 9 different directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Hydrostatic shock. This one you have to look into. I can't teach it through a screen. I have to literally make physical contact with you so you can feel what it is. But basically, it's how to hit a human being like we're made of water instead of hitting us like we're made of a solid. Now, the difference between hitting like a solid and hitting like a water is that a water will send the shockwave through the body, where a solid just tends to knock it to the side. Now, next one is individual techniques. An example of that one would be, everybody can throw a jab, but are you throwing it right? Throw the jab out, keep it lined up, hand goes out, then the hip. So, hand goes out, then the hip. It's basically looks faster up front. We'll do shoulder first, then the punch, you see it coming. We'll do punch, then shoulder, it seems faster, even though the movements are the same. It's 1, 2 versus 1, 2. How to do the individual strikes properly. The next one is where to hit. Not many schools have ever actually pulled out an anatomy chart from what I've ever seen on what bones are easier to break, what spots of the face or the head do you have to aim for, and even less, especially today, go over proper hand weapons. They only know one basically, and that's the fist, because they're all trained with gloves. Even then, they only hit with the bottom 3 or the top 2, depending upon the style. What I mean by hand weapons, I mean like one knuckle sinks deeper in the eye socket than a fist. If you want a better example, there's a fight even in anime where a martial artist takes his fingers and jams in the top of someone's skull. Doesn't like puncture through like a woodpecker, but hits the spot where all the bones meet. Now, I don't think my fingers will ever be strong enough to crack someone's skull open in that way, but a downward striking elbow probably will get the job done. It's basically aiming for the parts of the body where the bones or the muscles or the nerves are the weakest. If you don't believe they don't exist, just look up any MMA or boxing rulebook, what you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to hit to the back of the head. Pretty much any hit there does either a kill or a knockout. You're not allowed to hit the button on the chin. The collarbone only breaks under 14 pounds of pressure. There's a lot of areas on the hips you don't hit. You don't hit the spine. There's certain parts of the ribs you don't hit. There's certain parts, pretty much the entire neck's excluded. There's even several parts on the arm they don't bother talking about because they're just effective for different reasons. Pressure points do exist. It's all about the nature of the pressure point and how you get it to work. Now, once you know all your hand weapons, where to hit and how to hit, as well as where you're getting your power from, then you go on to combos and katas. Now, anyone can make a simple, like, million hit combo as they hit some invisible target, Gum Gum Luffy style, but you should make a combo with a purpose. Most katas actually do have a purpose. They're either counter movements or setup movements. It's basically how this one martial artist used to fight, and they just copied his movements and put it in a dance for people to practice so that people have that movement. An example of one of my favorite combos would just be a hook uppercut. It's simple. You hit with the intention of, let me stand over here, the intention of moving the body over here, or the head over here. It could be just straight up push, just so the uppercut can hit while the head's away. The goal with this is to just get their head, get their chin out, so that the hit comes up right after. So it'll go from here, hold the hand out, and then uppercut from that area. The overall goal of it is, it also counts as a 1-2 punch. 1-2 punch in my language is one slow punch with a slightly faster punch afterwards. It makes it seem twice as fast, even though it's the same way. So I'd go one punch, but on the slow withdrawal, come for the uppercut. So 1-2. I might even fire the uppercut, same time I fire the hook. 1-2. And because it's coming from way out here, you might not see it, or if you do see it, the hook gets you. And I use a Russian hook or whatever other hook variant that I know to make it land. Combos with a purpose, katas. The next one is Dutch drilling. Now that's a long thing to put in one video. You can just type in Dutch drilling and see it for yourself. It's basically, you do the kata combo, full padding against somebody else in full padding with control and supervision, because you always do fire under control and supervision. It's very dangerous. You can get permanent injuries. And the other person has to get hit with it and defend it. Like one example of a combo, it would be you come through with a reverse punch, but you aim for their second hand here, so that hit knocks the arm back here. So after you knock that part back with the reverse punch, you leave an opening for a hook to hit that spot that you just made an opening, because you knock that arm back. Combos with a purpose goes into Dutch drilling, where you try to pull out these combos. And your goal should be to resist it as much as possible and not kill your opponent with it, but make it as close as possible. I put bar fight down there because it's ridiculous. This is where you incorporate everything outside of striking and weapons. So the closest I can think of is just having fun. Pick up a weapon, use it. Pick up a sword, use it, real or fake. Pick up Nerf guns. It's whatever you can actually incorporate that's related to your style, that's not directly involved in your style. Grab people, that's what you use grappling for. And the last one is the place in the universe, because if you're learning how to break someone's collarbone, and how to break someone's neck, and how to like destroy someone's facial reconstruction, destroy the orbital bone, knock out their teeth, if you're learning how to commit reverse plastic surgery, so to speak, or to hit people and paralyze them by damaging their back or their kidneys or their liver, what are you going to do with it in your life? If you can't visualize yourself doing it in the future, then it's going to slow down your progress of striking. It has to be a place in your life where you use this. Or maybe you just want to learn it so you can hand it to somebody else. The reason why I say that is because there's plenty of people who learn things and never use them.